it's not always easy taking requests to go see things or do, videos with specific nature. And this week I had, what I was planning to see, and I'll eventually still see, is Conjuring: The Devil Made Me Do It. That's my plan. And then one of my regulars, God bless your soul, Jaden. I appreciate the fact you like my opinion on things. But Jaden, the critic, as he's known as, has a tendency to ask me to review as many of the animated films that come out as come out. I can't remember the exact reason, Jaden. I think you have interest in animation yourself. I think that was one of the reasons you specified. And look, I obviously have no problem with animated. I love animated films. But just like I love films in general, there are good films and there are bad films. When Spirit Untamed came into my purview, I'm like, ooh, this is not going to be one I'm going to enjoy. And obviously I got out of it. Actually, I've been out of it for a little while. I lingered in the arcade a little bit. And I got out of it. And I will say this. This is far from the worst animated film I've ever seen. Not even in the top 10 worst animated films I've ever seen. But it's far from the best. At best, it is benign. I actually got a chuckle here or there. It's not a fantastic story, but there are elements that work. What's the story? So, this girl, Lucky, right off the bat, your character's name is actually called Lucky. Who the hell names their kid Lucky? I don't know. And her mother was a fantabulous, a magnificent, a expert rodeo, performer. And she ends up dying, and I'll give you see this in the trailer, but she ends up dying, and she's apparently estranged from her father, actually, so she's been gone for like 10 years or something like that, and then they go back to see him, and the horse Spirit, from Spirit Stallion of the Crimson is there, her bonding with the horse, making friends and stopping the bad guys from kidnapping the horse's family. Now, first and foremost, I have no idea if this is supposed to be a prequel or a sequel to, or just a different story in the year. Kind of like how the Fievel series actually, I think, had a series to it. Like, the Fievel Goes West, American Tail, actually did have a series, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's supposed to be, like, in the same vein as that. Like, it's technically in the same world, it's the same horse, but I don't know if it's a sequel or not. I do not know. My guess is, because I don't remember how the first one ended, it's a sequel, because he does have a family in this one, like a white kid kind of thing. And right from the get, one of the things I noticed was the animation. Now, not the animation on the horses is actually pretty decent. It's actually pretty decent on the horses. On the people, it just didn't. There was something off about it, particularly with the main girl, Lucky. There was something very off about the animation there, and I can't quite put my finger on it, or I couldn't, until I realized. And this goes for the entire film. We're obviously in an age now where you'll be lucky if you see a 2D animated film anymore. It just does not happen anymore in theaters. You still get like the 2D animation, and even the 2D animation is done to computers, but the 2D animation still exists obviously on TV. But in terms of the animated movie, it's no longer around anymore, and that's just the way of the times. We know we've advanced. CGI is just by all extent easier at this point. But I'm watching the film, and I'm realizing that landscape-wise, character-wise, particularly on the horse, I'm like, this film is drawn like a 2D film in 3D. You look at the design of the horses, and I'm like, they look decent, but like something is a little off, and then you realize that's because they're drawn like they're a 2D character, whereas they're done in the 3D style, and that doesn't mesh. If I were to draw Jasmine, we're just using Jasmine from as an example. If you were to draw Jasmine in the style of 2D, but throw her in 3D, it doesn't immediately translate. Actually, that's not entirely true, because we see that in Wreck-It Ralph. But you get my meaning. Like, if I were to do actually, the Beast, I think, is a bit of a better example. Because of the way the Beast is designed. You couldn't immediately adapt that to 3D. You would have to... Just want to be sure the person coming here is not going to try to interrupt. Says, hey, everything all right? I had that happen once in the video. I mean, it's a little difficult to say, to really articulate how different 2D and 3D are. But they are different mediums to a lesser degree. They are different. And to me, I'm watching it, and if you're someone who's kind of like can see the difference between 2D and 3D in terms of style, you'll know what I'm talking about when you see the movie. There's nothing really original in the movie. The girl's the same old thing. She's a free spirit. She gets into trouble. I'll say this: they even notice that you don't listen. Like, this girl does not listen at all. Period. End of story. And it still causes a lot of problems. But it's, she's estranged from her dad. She struggles with her dad. I'll say this: the dialogue isn't terrible. It's just not. There's nothing I can really take out. There's a nice parting moment near the end with her and the horse. Spoilers, yeah. Spirit goes on to live with his family. Do you care that much, really, folks? But there's a nice parting moment where you got to protect your heart. I can't go with you. I got to protect mine. That's a nice little moment. There's some decent lines in there, and there's a couple moments that did make me laugh. There's a shadow puppet scene where the girl's where the main character like just leans over to her friend and is like, well, how is she doing that with the shadows? Like, it's actually making the images, which is pretty funny. I will say the trailer, they do subvert expectations with the trailer, because in the trailer you see this karate scene where she's beating up the bad guys with kung fu. In the movie, it's not that easy. It is kind of a fantasy dream sequence a little bit. So it's like, oh, thank God that didn't happen, because all of a sudden she knows martial arts now. Where the hell is this coming from? But, I mean, again, people seem a little weirdly animated. There's nothing, like I said, wholly original in the movie. It is just kind of a paint-by-numbers kind of movie, and that really is. But for what it is, because there was a decent amount of kids, my theater's now at full capacity again, so which is good, nice. And there was a fair amount of families and kids in there. I imagine kids are going to enjoy it, because all the kids I could hear in there were enjoying themselves. I will say, though, and this is me as both a gamer and a Pokemon fan, I'm looking at the world in like the animation. I'm like, it's very nicely animated in terms of like a color palette. It's very bright, very vibrant. But I'm watching like the landscape. They show a map of the area. I'm like, this is a freaking 3D Pokemon region. Like, seriously, you look at the town and it's set up like a town in a Pokemon town. No joke. You look at the region, look at the forest she goes in at night, and I'm like, this looks like a freaking thing out of like, this looks like if you were to update Sun and Shield and Swords graphics. It's like, it's a goddamn Pokemon region. Like, seriously, there's a gorge, there's a mountain, there's a water flat thing. It's like, yeah, it's like it's like if you had a small but a Midwest Pokemon region. I'm like, okay, I mean, I that's interesting. I will say though, there was a couple of older kids in the audience who leaned over. I think one girl I heard leaning over to her mom. It's like, wait, they're doing what now? Or I can't remember exactly what the scene was. But how is she doing what? Like, you know what? There's hope. There's hope for the world. And then at one point, it turns into, and I'm not joking, and I only know this because I didn't watch it, but I watched a Nostalgia Critics review of the movie. Thomas the Tank Engine, the movie, where they have to take this basically homemade engine to go chase down the bad guys. And all I'm thinking of is that scene where Peter Fonda is, as Lady. He's like, you can't stop us, Dozer, or whatever the guy's bad guy in that movie was. It's like, oh, okay, this is the thing that is happening. Look, it's not terrible. It really isn't. I've seen far worse than this. I think just off the top of my head, movies that are worse than this. Animated movies, anyway. Home was worse than this. Home is better animated than this, but that's about all I had going for it. Ugly Dolls. decent message, but it's just not as good. It's just terrible movies. Norman North, still the only movie I've ever walked out on in a movie theater. Worse than this. Now I'm starting to struggle a little bit because I'm backtracking on how many animated films I've seen in all my years of seeing animated films. Is this the worst one I have ever laid eyes on? No, not even remotely close. It's just not that good. That's basically. It's just not that good. It'll keep your kids entertained. Kept the kids in the audience entertained. So, if you have the means to watch, and your kids have watched all the good stuff out there, then, can't hurt. There's no harm in this. The movie is, but like I said, it's benign. It's harmless. But it wasn't my cup of tea. It's probably not going to be a lot of older people's cup of tea. Even people who grew up with the original ones, Stallion, Spirit, Stallion of the Crimson. The people who grew up with that. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if this will be a good movie for them. Probably not. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it. There weren't any new trailers. There was one. Paw Patrol the movie. Really? Is that where we are now? I tempered myself when this came up because I'm like, it's a kids film, it's a kids film, it's a kids film, it's a kids film, it's a kids film. But even I'm like, oh dear Lord, what have we become? I mean, Boss Baby 2 looks better than that. And Boss Baby sucks. I mean, Boss Baby's baby doesn't. I know there's like a percentage of people who actually enjoy Boss Baby, which is fine. But to me, Boss Baby, it's just a weird premise, and it's not even it's just, yeah. Anyway, and you know what trailer I'm going to be so glad to stop seeing once I go see the movie? In the Heights. Look, I'm looking forward to the movie. I like musicals quite a bit. I liked Hamilton quite a lot. I don't love Hamilton, but I liked Hamilton quite a bit. And I know it's the same guy, Lin-Manuel Miranda's. I'm like, I do want to see the movie. I do enjoy a good musical. I'm just sick and tired of seeing the trailer attached to everything. So, I can't wait for this movie. Less because I'm looking forward to the movie, although I am, because I'm so looking forward to no longer seeing the trailer for the movie. Of course, that's what you get with a pandemic. Everything got pushed, so of course we're going to see it longer, all that. And then at some point this week I'll catch Conjuring 3. Probably not, maybe tomorrow, probably more like because I have the entire week off. It's my vacation coming up. So, yeah, I'll see Conjuring. I can't remember what's coming out next week. I'll double check that. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. By the way, you know, I've already set up my schedule for the week in terms of like videos. Yes, for the people's whose birthday are this week, don't worry. Your videos are gonna get. I'm gonna do your videos. Don't worry. Your videos are gonna get. I'm gonna do your videos. Your videos will be done. Don't worry. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I got What If coming out tomorrow. It's part 2 of What If Goku landed on Kami's lookout and was adopted by Kami. Not quite what the title is. It's landed on the lookout and was adopted by Kami's actual title. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you folks later.